On a near perfect night, temperature in the 70s, no rain in sight, very little humidity. Don Shula, for the 23rd consecutive year, the head coach of the Dolphins, 30 years overall as a head coach in the National Football League. No burnout for Don Shula, ever. And the Dolphins to kick off, Pete Stoyanovich, one of the best place kickers in the league, and a man who can really boom them, even though he has only 15 touchbacks out of 67 kickoffs, to put it in the air. And back deep to receive, Alexander Wright, number 89, who came from the Cowboys in mid-year, and Napoleon McCallum closest to you. There's McCallum, the former Navy star. Ready to go from Miami. The Dolphins 8-5. The Raiders 6-7. And the kickoff comes down to the 3-yard line. This is Alexander Wright, who's a real speedster, getting banged to the turf at the 27-yard line. Wright last winter won the NFL's fastest man competition. And here comes Jay Schrader. Schrader has been, as we said at the top, playing very well of late and playing very efficiently. Last week under 100 yards, but he threw for 3 touchdowns against Kansas City. Dickerson and Smith start in the backfield. Galt and Brown, the wideouts. Horton is the tight end. Wilkerson, Wisniewski, Mosbar, Montoya, and McElroy, a very veteran offensive line up front. That's Willie Galt in motion. And the Raiders begin on the ground with Dickerson taking it out to the 30-yard line. Dolphins play a base 3-4, sometimes switch to a 4-3, and they'll look like this a lot tonight along the front with Cross, Klingbeil, and the good-looking rookie Marco Coleman out of Georgia Tech. Then Griggs, Grimsley, Hollier, the rookie, starting at inside backer, and Brian Cox outside, with Offerdahl inactive again tonight. Troy Vincent, a rookie, with J.B. Brown at the corners. Williams and Oliver are the safeties. And time out on the field as Reggie McElroy, number 77, is shaken up along the Raider offensive front, where they already have Steve Wright, another would-be starter, on injured reserve.
It's a thin offensive line for the Raiders, especially, as you said, Al, at tackle. Greg Skrepenik, the rookie from Michigan, is back there as well. And is he the guy that's been inserted into the line? Yes, there's Skrepenik, number 78, over at right tackle. So the Raiders are down to a rookie in the line on only the second play of the game.
From the 30-yard line at 2nd and 7 is Tim Brown, the former Heisman Trophy winner, is in motion. A toss to Dickerson, and he can't get outside because of Marco Coleman, the rookie. And that is a play that has worked so well of late for the Raiders as Dickerson gets outside, but not this time. Coleman is right there.
Well, Coleman was drafted really as an outside linebacker. They moved him to defensive end about 3 or 4 weeks into the season. There he plays off the block and shows the quickness that a linebacker has. He has great pursuit.
Frank, that's a play you have to audible out of. When Coleman's lined up that wide, you can't block the guy.
No way Wilkerson could have got out to get him.
No way. When you see the defensive end that far out, the pitch coming right at him is a dead play.
3rd down and 12 at the 25-yard line. Marcus Allen, who comes in 3rd down situations, in the backfield, sent out into the pattern. Schrader stepping up, throws over the middle into a lot of traffic and threads it into Marcus Allen, who somehow is able to make the catch amongst a trio of Dolphins, but a little short of the 1st down up at the 36-yard line. It will be 4th and 1.
Marcus, the intended receiver, all the way by Schrader. Look, he's locked up with his eyeballs on Marcus right there. Good coverage on Marcus. There's no secret when he comes into the backfield that he is going to be the prime receiver coming out of the backfield. This time he had 3rd and about 13 or 14. He just didn't pick up the yardage.
And Kerry Glenn of the Dolphins was the one who took the big hit from one of his own men.
Jeff Gossett sends it to the Miami 23, where it's fair caught by Scott Miller. Dan Marino at the helm for the Dolphins, who incredibly have scored only 2 touchdowns in the last 14 quarters. 21 TDs, 12 interceptions. Mark Higgs and Tony Page start in the backfield. The Marks brothers outside, Duper and Clayton. Keith Jackson came over in October. Webb, Sims, Ulanay, Galbraith, and Dellenbach, the interior 5. 1st down, Miami at the 23. No score, early 1st quarter. Marino begins with a play fake, a lot of protection, and the pass caught at the 35-yard line by Mark Clayton, who's been quite vocal about not being a big enough part of the offense. So they start with a pass to Clayton.
You think that was by chance?
Yeah.
Boy, how lucky that Mark Clayton gets the first pass of the game.
Defensively, Long, Broughton, Harrison, and Townsend. And in pass rush situations, we'll see Anthony Smith, and he's been great. Wallace with Bell and Moss. Ricky Ellison inactive tonight, foot injury. So Bell starts in the middle. McDaniel's having a Pro Bowl type year. Washington in the other corner. The veteran Ronnie Lott and Eddie Anderson are the safeties. After a 12-yard gain on first down, this is Higgs. And the Dolphins trying to regenerate their running game. Last week they started Bobby Humphrey at San Francisco. That didn't work. Tonight they go back to Mark Higgs.
And of course, Bobby Humphrey has had a flu problem over the course of the week. He missed a couple of practice sessions. He was not scheduled to start, however, as they go back to what worked for them in the first 6 games of the season when Higgs was tearing things up. They were talking about a 1,000-yard rusher for the first time since '78. And all of a sudden, things just ground to a halt.
2nd and 7 at the 37-yard line. They send Page in motion. He either blocks or catches passes. Higgs stretching for what he hopes is the first down. He's very close. They'll spot it at the 44. He appears to be a little short, and that's going to set up a 3rd and inches. Eddie Anderson makes the tackle, and they'll take a closer look.
That's for Mark Higgs wishes that he was a little taller than 5'7". Whoa.
Real good look at the measurement.
5'8" might have got him from first down.
Just a good night's sleep.
Hanging in the gravity boots might have done it as well. A talented group of running backs here for Miami in their versatility. They all can block fairly well. They all are good receivers. And as we touched on earlier, Higgs got off to the dynamic start, still capable in reality of getting to 1,000 yards. He had 718 coming in. Of course, there's a good look at Tony Page, the guy that makes it all happen. One of the fine lead blockers in the NFL today.
And maybe the best receiver out of that backfield.
You looked into the face of Howie Long, having a tremendous year in his 12th year in the league. 3rd, and it might be a singular inch. And Higgs gets it. Well, at least he got a few inches, and all he needed was 1 first down. Winston Moss is there to make the tackle, and the Dolphins maintain possession with 10:54 remaining in a scoreless first quarter.
And you heard the crowd give a nice ovation. I think that was directed toward the Dolphin offensive line. They've been under a lot of fire lately for the lack of production. Dan Marino has been getting pummeled in the pocket. The running game is non-existent. And I think Ulenik, who's back and beginning to get healthy, is a wonderful addition for that group. You see Ulenik there pointing out the blocking and calling the assignments to the other offensive line, his line mates. This is a good group, but they haven't played well lately.
Good protection, and the pass is caught at the 35-yard line by Keith Jackson, and it takes 3 Raiders to bring them down.
Good read by Marino. Raiders coming with a linebacker, and Jackson slid out to the left, and Marino kind of eased out of the pocket until he opened up. Big and powerful, 250-pounder. You can't cover him with Aaron Wallace, the linebacker, number 51. And so many teams have tried this over the years, and Keith Jackson will kill a linebacker. And you saw him cover up the football at the end. He had a little problem in bobbling that ball in the past couple of games.
27-yard gain. The ball is at the LA 27, first down. Here's Higgs trying to follow Page, and then he cuts it back, and Ronnie Lott comes in to make the tackle at the 23 after a gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Now there's a 3-yard gain that may end up being Higgs' best run of the night, because he was confronted immediately with Howie Long in the backfield and was able to escape him and get positive yardage. That was a nifty piece of work. Howie Long, I thought a couple years ago, he'd been racked by injuries and his performance was down. I thought maybe he was at the end of his career, and here he is in his 12th year having one of the best years he's ever had. Howie Long deserves a Pro Bowl shot this year. That's what kind of year he's had.
Called it 2nd and 6 at the 23-yard line. Higgs, behind a Page block, gets to the 20, and Anthony Bell sends him backward. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
2
Mark Higgs, and Dan talked about it, the first 9 games averaging 65 yards per game, almost 66. But over the last 4, a whole other story. And tonight, 12 yards on his first 4 rushes. 3rd and 3 at the 20. 8:20 to go. First quarter, no score. Jackson in motion. They give it to Higgs. He runs into Page. And also Ronnie Lott, who comes up from the secondary. And also helping to break up the play.
Ronnie Lott played that absolutely like a linebacker from about 10 yards deep. Read the play. He's been reading them for about 12 years on his way to Canton, Ohio. He hit that gap at the same time as Higgs, and they just stopped right in the hole. And Higgs he's got that low center of gravity. Watch Ronnie Lott. Perfectly timed out. Read the play perfectly and just stood Higgs up in the hole and stopped him.
And you can't account for him. I mean, how do you work a guy into your blocking scheme that's 12 yards off the ball?
Here's a 37-yard field goal attempt, which is a chip shot for Stoyanovich normally, but not tonight. That's only the second kick of less than 50 yards he has missed this season. A 36-yard attempt officially.
And a very warm welcome back to NFL American football here on Screensport. So, having escaped when Pete Stoyanovich missed that field goal attempt, the Raiders then took over possession, but they couldn't do anything with the ball and were forced to punt it away. So, we pick up the action on Miami's next drive with just over 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Let's rejoin our commentary crew at Joe Robbie Stadium. Frank, Dan, and Al Michaels.
From the 15-yard line, there's Marino. Firing over the middle, Keith Jackson makes the catch, and Jackson takes it out to the 26-yard line. That's an 11-yard gain and a first down. Moss and Washington converge on the tackle.
Frank, I don't think that I'd really be all that interested in catching a ball in the middle of the field when Ronnie Lott is playing.
Well, if you're 6'2" and 250, it helps a lot. Even Ronnie might have second thoughts about really unloading on you, although I doubt it.
Every time he arrives, the other guy ends up going backwards. Here comes Ronnie Lott, and look at the hit. He is the only Raider that hit Keith Jackson and knocked Jackson backwards.
6'2", 250 Jackson. He took the shot.
2:25 to go. No score first quarter. Here's Higgs. Out to the 34-yard line he goes. That's a gain of 8. Moss and Bell converge on the tackle.
Well, if you're going to run to the left side behind the Dolphin line, you're running behind their power, behind Webb and Sims, and that's exactly where Higgs blasted that time. They've really based their offensive future around these two guys on the left side, both in their 3rd year. Sims 69, Webb 78, and look at the blocking they get. Richmond Webb, a fine job on Greg Townsend.
2nd and 2 at the 34-yard line. Higgs again. Hello, Howie Long.
Well, they had the good blocking at the point of attack, but nobody cut Howie Long, who knifed to the inside, and bang.
Well, Dellenbach tried to come down on him from the right tackle spot. He was way too late, as you can see. And Howie Long reading the play, catching the motion of the backs out of the corner of his eye, and he's so quick still along that line of scrimmage, and this is 12th year.
What a competitor. There's Anthony Smith, who checks into the game, the pass rushing specialist for the Raiders. He's got 13 sacks on the year.
And he only plays in pass rush situations.
He plays 12, 17, 15 plays a game.
3rd and 4. And Marino's pass is caught by Tony Martin for a first down up at the 41-yard line.
The Raiders love to play that tight defense on sure pass situations. And they were right up on Tony Martin. Good read between Marino and Martin. Martin just slanting in. It was kind of hard to cover him. You're in man for man. He comes in on a straight slant. You do the best you can with it. And that's not good enough, as Dan Land was in not bad position. Pass perfectly thrown for the first down.
Dan Land not only gets beat for the completion, he then has to suffer Ronnie Lott coming in, and Lott misses the receiver and pummels Land.
Waning seconds of the quarter. Marino a perfect 5 for 5. Being chased, and he runs out of bounds. And there's a flag down. It's the first flag of the contest, and it comes 14 minutes and 54 seconds into it. Red Cashin is our referee tonight.
Dan's having a big year running the football.
Yeah, of course he
That's
has
the good
to.
news. And the bad news, he has to. He's been sacked 25 times this year, and his biggest season is 27.
Now you can have an automatic first down here, defensive holding.
I think Keith Jackson was the tight end coming across the middle. He might have been held.
Winston Moss, I think, got a hold of him. That's who they were pointing at, the linebacker.
Red Cashin, I'm convinced a frustrated square dance caller will tell us it's a first
Holding
down.
by the defense.
There's 99.
Number 99. 5 yards added on to the play. First down.
All right, Red.
I love Red Cashin.
And do-si-do. Grab your woman and swing her around.
And he'll start the clock here. That's going to be the end of the quarter.
Take her across the floor and pick up a first down.
We're going to the barn. We start the second quarter after a fast, scoreless opening quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, which next spring will be the home of the National League expansion baseball team, the Florida Marlins. Dan Marino, 5 for 5, first down at the Raider 48-yard line. First and 10. And after we go through almost the whole first quarter without a penalty and get a flag at the end, we begin the second quarter with a flag.
Before the ball was snapped. False start. Number 88 on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
It's been happening with some frequency with Keith Jackson.
Well, that was a funny looking play. Keith Jackson looked like he moved with the ball. It's just nobody else moved. Let's watch.
Yeah.
See, that's Jackson isn't offsides there. It's just that none of the other Dolphin offensive linemen moved with the football, so it looked like he was offside. Yeah. He moved right with the football.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been called, but you can see why it was.
First and 15, and Marino gets sacked at the 41-yard line. That is Chester McLaughlin, their first-round draft choice, the rookie out of Clemson, who weighs in at about 315.
You know, and that's Dan Marino's 26th sack of the season. 27 is his all-time high, and I know you probably can remember listening to games when we talked about how his sacks were in single-digit numbers. 6 one year, 9 another year. Now this is 26 is one short of the all-time high. And that's one of the problems with this offensive line that appears so good. The other is the fact that the longest run they've had from scrimmage is 22 yards.
He went right by Keith Sims, who was almost acting like he was expecting help to the outside, and there goes Richmond Webb with a false start.
Right after you caught a shot of John Sandusky, who works with the offensive line.
I mean, the last play where McLaughlin got the sack, Sims looked like he was expecting help from Webb.
Before the snap, false start. Number 78 on the offense. 5 yards, still second down.
And then Sims and Webb talked in the huddle on the way up to the line of scrimmage, and now Richmond makes the mistake. And as I touched on earlier, that's the strength of their offensive line, those two players along with Ulenek. I think it's easier, guys, to make a false start when you're on that two-point stance without a hand on the ground. I think it's easier to twitch and to make a false start.
Second and 26, long chases Marino, but the pass is caught for a minimal gain by Mark Clayton up at the 41-yard line.
Well, Howie is coming out of the blocks in a hurry. And he has been a factor on about a half a dozen plays already. Whether they be hits in the backfield, pressures on the quarterback. That's an awful good start for the perennial Pro Bowler Howie Long. He's working on the right side. Number 65 there is Jeff Dellenbach, and he grabs on, holds on for dear life, long enough to allow Marino to get to the outside, and Dellenbach's lucky that he didn't get flagged for that.
Third and 21. Marino is 6 for 6. The last time the Dolphins were on Monday night, he was 11 for his first 11. And now he's 7 of 7 as he hits Martin, but not enough for a first down. He can get it only to the Raider 45. He's about 7 yards short of the first down, and the Dolphins will be forced to punt for the first time in the game.
Well-designed play. They coming right underneath, almost a screen. Let's take a look at it. It really is amazing.
And guess who chases him down? Watch the hustle by Howie Long, number 75.
Well, look at that offensive line. They're leading almost as a screen to get in front of the intended receiver.
But
Long just followed the convoy.
Yeah, I mean, that's exceptional hustle and speed by a defensive lineman tracking down a wide receiver from behind.
Reggie Roby
Gets out of here.
Whoa.
Brown calls for a fair catch, but that's simply a fake. And as the Dolphins try to keep it from going into the end zone, they can't. Mike Williams was there, but the ball bounds over the goal line, and out to the 20 it will come.
That punt punched a hole in the ozone layer.
Welcome back to NFL American football here on Screensport, where it's still scoreless between the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Raiders. And on their next possession, the Raiders were unable to move the ball. Once again, they had to punt it away. So it's the Dolphins with a 1st and 10 on their own 41-yard line. But that's after we've heard from Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen, as we mentioned before, extreme displeasure as to his role, and he's felt that way for quite some time. He's been remarkably silent until now.
I've actually wanted to leave the Raiders since 1986. I didn't, my contract wasn't up until 88, so I never had said something prior to that. But after that, after the 88 season, I had made several requests and to be traded and to be released or cut, anything just to get out of there.
Well, that was one of the things Marcus said as we interviewed him over the weekend. And at halftime, we will talk with Marcus Allen as Marino on 1st down throws incomplete on 1st and 10 from the 41. But for years, there has been a perceived feud between Marcus and Al Davis, and both have remained relatively silent, neither talking about the extent or the depth of it. And Marcus Allen finally has come very public with it. And there is Al Davis, as always, in the press box looking on, and we will detail that at halftime tonight.
I think you can drop the perceived from that. I mean, it appears to be...
Oh, that legally, you forget it. They've been battling.
I think it is just a feud.
From the 42-yard line, this is Mark Higgs taking it up to the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Anthony Bell makes the tackle. 11:15 to go in the first half. Still 0-0.
Well, the Dolphins have been moving the ball on the ground. They opened this game with a very good-looking offensive drive that was fruitless when Stoyanovich missed a relatively easy field goal, and now they're faced with this 3rd down conversion that would put the ball into Raider territory if they do succeed. They have done an effective job on the line of scrimmage, except the last 2 times Marino's been under pressure and hit.
On 3rd and 6, Marino on a reverse roll throws, and it's caught by Martin at the 49. Does he have the 1st down? The spot, well, wait until they put the marker back there.
Well, the receiver's taught to come back to his quarterback, and I'm thinking the comeback here might have robbed Miami of their 1st down.
They're short.
Martin did the right thing. He came back to give Marino an angle to throw the football, and he is, you're right, Dan, taught to do that. Perhaps a little more presence of where he was would have made a major difference, but I think 4th down, short yardage, Dolphins are going to go for it. Either that or they're going to try to draw the Raiders off. There you see that Martin incoming back for it.
Well, he made it,
short.
and now it looks like the Dolphins are going for it.
At least they're lining up, perhaps hopeful of inducing the Raiders to...
You're going to try to get somebody to jump off sides. You got to do it quicker than that. The play clock was down to 2 seconds, and Marino had no choice but to take the timeout. Well, the Dolphins were down to 2 seconds, but the Raiders were down to only 10 men on the field. So the Raiders are the team that called the timeout.
And now it is 4th down and a short yard at the 49, and Marino fumbles the ball and then lunges forward and picks up, I believe, the 1st down.
And I think he only got the 1st down because he's hit from behind by a Raider and knocks him for the 1st down. I think Dave Waymer hits Marino from behind and drives him for the Miami 1st down. Oh, that's pure luck.
Take it any way you can get it.
Yep.
Bobbled the ball, gets hit from behind, loses it there. Now watch Waymer come in. Bang, knocks him forward. 1st down, Miami.
An assist for Dave Weimert.
1st and 10 at the 48-yard line as Marino on a roll. Has time and completes it to the 40-yard line. The catch is made there by Mark Clayton, who's twisted to the ground by Bell.
Mark Clayton, the vocal one, has been making lots of noise here in Southern Florida about his lack of production. Only 34 catches coming into tonight. Another pair makes it an even 36, and he has really been talking about that guy a little bit, Don Shula. He's a thorn in Shula's side, and there's a lot of speculation here concerning the Dolphins as to whether or not Mark Clayton is going to be with this team next year. He's openly said, I want to be somewhere else.
2nd and 2 at the 40-yard line, and there's Higgs picking up 5 and a 1st down to the 35, tackled by Anthony Bell. Nine minutes left in a scoreless first half in Miami.
A lot of people, too, also think that Clayton is saying the right thing. You're just saying it the wrong way, because the 2 outside receivers, Duper and Clayton, they are the 4th and 5th leading receivers on this Dolphin team. They're not used to that.
At the 35, Higgs. A gain of 7. It's an amazing thing, Frank, when you look at the Dolphins in terms of receptions, that the 3 leading receivers are 2 running backs and a tight end.
Tight end. It's never been that way. As long as Clayton has been here, you can understand it, but some of the way he goes about it will not make him too popular with Don Shula. And Don Shula has been known to unload his problems in the past. Humphrey, the leading receiver. Keith Jackson, who came in late. Clayton was vocal about that, too. He didn't like that.
And then, to make it worse, Mark Duper falls in at number 4. Coming into tonight, Mark Clayton was the 5th leading receiver, and that is unfamiliar territory for number 83.
2nd and 4, Higgs again. And he's short of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and about 2 upcoming. Winston Moss, big number 99, wraps him up. Winston Moss, 6th year out of Miami. So he comes home. The Raiders don't come here that often, and the Dolphins are thankful for that, because through the years the Raiders have just beat up on the Dolphins.
What is it, 14-3-1, the series record? 14-3-1. That is domination, and these are the 2 winningest teams on Monday Night Football in the history of the series, and the Raiders are 4-0 against the Dolphins on Monday night. They've never lost.
3rd and a very long one at the 26-yard line. They have to get inside the 25, and they do. And plenty more from Mark Higgs as he takes it to the 17. He's tackled by Eddie Anderson.
Good tackle by Anderson. You missed that, and Higgs is in the end zone.
Beautifully blocked on the right side of the line. Credit Jeff Dellenbach, the right tackle. I think Sims came across with a trap, and this is as cleanly blocked. Oh, we'll get a good look at it here. Look at that hole right there.
Oh, that's textbook.
Nicely done. Galbraith put Anthony Bell on the ground. Good work by the right side of the Dolphin line that time.
Well, you draw that up just like that during the week.
They put Bobby Humphrey in the game now, number 44, the running back. He gets immediate action, and he can't get around Tony Page. Page engaged with Moss and Harrison, who converge on the tackle for the Raiders.
Higgs, as I mentioned, was out a couple of days with the flu, running a very high temperature, and they were a little bit concerned whether he'd be able to go tonight. Bobby Humphrey is also a good receiver coming out of that backfield, perhaps a little better than Higgs.
Tony Page upset with himself, but boy, they were asking an awful lot of him that time to block Drake Townsend. I don't know you can line a running back up on the wing and expect him to drive a defensive end off the ball.
2nd and 11. No score in the game, but the Dolphins have gained 144 yards to this point. The Raiders, 37. Marino guns it to the 10-yard line. That's Tony Page making the 1st down. Or he's close to it at the 8-yard line. Might be a little short.
When you have Page and Humphrey in that backfield as the 2 setbacks, Duper on one side, Clayton on the other end, the big tight end, Keith Jackson, you've got a load to cover. Page, a good receiver, a very unlikely looking one, I might admit, but a good one. Leading receiver a year ago from the backfield.
He's a classic case, Frank, you're right, of don't judge a book by a cover. When you go down on the field, Tony Page is not the one that you would pick out as the guy that you'd want to send out of your backfield.
He's the guy that Marino likes to go to.
They put it at the 9 where it's third down and a very short 3, and Marino dumps it over the middle and incomplete, and he's lucky it wasn't picked by Winston Moss on a pass intended for Page. So on fourth and let's say 2.5, the Dolphins will send in the field goal unit. Stoyanovich has already missed one tonight.
Oh, yeah, I think Page that time crossed Marino up, and Marino went right up and set something right into his face.
Stoyanovich this season, as we said before, coming into tonight's game, had missed only one kick less than 50 yards. He missed a 36-yarder on Miami's first drive. This one is 26 yards. And this one is good. 4:53 remaining in the first half, a very fast half at Joe Robbie Stadium. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf. Miami ahead 3-0. Miami has outgained the Raiders by a better than 4-to-1 ratio in terms of yardage, and yet they lead only 3-zip. Dolphins 8-5 coming in, but losing 5 of their last 7, and the Raiders 6-7, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Stoyanovich sends this one to the goal line. Alexander Wright, the former Cowboy, is tackled as he comes straight up the middle. Bernie Parmalee stops him at about the 20-yard line. Jay Schrader, 3 of 7, 36 yards. No running game thus far for the Raiders. Very little offense at all. They're down 3-zip. Schrader to the air. Schrader has it picked off.
Goodbye.
It is J.B. Brown going all the way.
Speaking of all the way, Schrader locked up on Tim Brown with his eyes all the way deep, square out. And you can cover a lot of ground if you're a defender. Willie Gault and Tim Brown, the 2 deep receivers, Gault over the left side, working against J.B. Brown. And look how deep he takes it. Schrader looking at him all the way here. A lot of time for J.B. to get back, make the interception. Steps in front of Gault, an easy sprint to the end zone.
Wasn't a real sharp break on the end of the pattern by Willie either.
Brown knew also he had deep help. Only 2 Raiders were in on that pass pattern, Brown and Gault. Consequently, both cornerbacks on the coverage knew they had deep help.
Stoyanovich for the point after. 10-zip, 35-yard interception return. 4th pick of the year for J.B. Brown.
So the first half ends with the Dolphins 10 points ahead. To find out what happens in the second half, join us after the break here on Screensport. Welcome back to Screensport. The Dolphins lead the Raiders by 10 points, and it's the Dolphins who'll get their hands on the ball first as we start the second half.
And the Raiders to kick off. Jeff Jager sees his first action of the night as he sends it down to the 9-yard line. This is Bernie Parmalee, the rookie from Ball State, and he's tackled up at the 25-yard line. Numbers through the first 30 minutes of play, not necessarily reflective of the score. It's only 10-0, but the numbers dominated by the Dolphins.
54 total yards of offense in the first half, the lowest number the Raiders have achieved so far in the 92 season, and that's wholly unacceptable.
And the only touchdown, an interception run back as Marino goes deep, and it's knocked away at the very last moment by Lionel Washington, the veteran corner, on a pass intended for Mark Clayton. Washington in his 10th year, one-time Cardinal.
You won't find Marino throwing into double coverage like that very often. Washington on the outside, getting help on the inside from Ronnie Lott. Easily played by Washington. He knows that he has got deep coverage from Ronnie Lott.
Lionel, a former teammate rather of mine in St. Louis, and gives the Raiders outstanding corner play on both sides. Terry McDaniel on the other side. You don't hear his name called hardly at all. He's not being challenged much by anybody.
On 2nd and 10, it's a pickup of 4 on A burst through the middle. Nolan Harrison and Ronnie Lott making the tackle on Mark Higgs.
And Ronnie Lott coming up from about 8 or 10 yards deep from that safety spot.
Ronnie is really committing early, I think, to the running game. I mean, he has been a serious factor in the Raider running game, and I'm not so sure that a well-executed play-action pass isn't going to catch Lott up close to the line of scrimmage.
He has committed early to the run since he was in grammar school.
He certainly has.
3rd and 6 at the 29-yard line. And Marino throws. Is there a flag? There is no flag as the Dolphins keep looking around for one. And Mark Clayton says, where in the world is that piece of laundry? McDaniel with the coverage. And
Daniel just got tied up with his feet.
Got tied up with something.
Marino trying to coax a flag in. McDaniel, number 36, playing Clayton very tight. Made a move to step in front for a deflection or a pickoff and tripped up Clayton.
On 4th and 6, Reggie Roby booms another one. That's taken by Brown at the 25-yard line. And he brings it back to the 35.
Mark Clayton still upset on the sidelines. He's arguing with the official all the way off the field, and that is a puzzled look on his face. How is it possible I don't get the call? It was just a case of their feet intertwining and sending Clayton down. Jay Schrader is going to attempt to improve upon a horrid first half.
I was going to say that would not be too difficult.
Raiders, after a 46-yard Roby punt, 10-yard run back by Brown, have it at the 35-yard line. And believe it or not, it's the Raiders' best starting field position. At the 35-yard line, Schrader completes it up to the 40. A little short route run by Tim Brown, who was tackled by J.B. Brown.
Tim Brown playing on a very sore ankle that he's had for the past couple of weeks. The Raiders going pretty much with their Raider offense, which was their Raider offense a lot of years ago. 2 speedy guys on the outside. Usually one other back in the pass pattern. Not difficult to read. They just try to execute.
2nd and 5. Schrader throws. Smith makes the catch. Smith is run out of bounds by Grimsley. A little short of the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and 1. Art Shell took over in '89. He's guided the Raiders into the playoffs in each of the last 2 seasons. There's his mark as the Raiders head coach. 3rd full season and 4th overall. He took over from Mike Shanahan in October of '89.
Was a teammate, actually, of Marcus Allen.
And of Howie Long.
Howie Long. Yep. That's strange and a very rare combination.
Was not Art Shell's first game as a head coach here in Miami on a Monday night?
It was in New York on a Monday night.
New York. I knew we did it somewhere on a Monday night.
3rd and 1.
Here, New York. I mean,
Major difference.
And it's incomplete. He tried to jam it in. Ethan Horton, who says, I can't believe it. That's a catch. The umpire says, And
the major difference right now.
What he was really doing.
Major difference now is about 2 feet of snow.
I just say it's a little chilly up there.
Shell just watching his team failing to convert on 3rd down. It is 4th and 1, and Gossett comes in.
Boy, it certainly looked like Grimsley was all over him before the ball got there. But no flag.
Gossett's kick is a weak one that goes out of bounds. That is the airship Shamu that was hovering high above Joe Robbie Stadium. There it is. SeaWorld blimp. Measuring 194 feet, they tell us. 67 feet tall. So how many cubic feet of helium?
7,348,127.
More than that, then. At least 8, 9.
I prefer fixed wing aircraft myself.
Dan Marino and the Dolphins at the 27. Higgs picks up 4, takes it out to the 31-yard line. And Eddie Anderson makes the tackle with 12:05 to play in the third quarter. Miami up 10-0.
Al, are you one of these guys that will ask a question and not know the answer?
Well,
I mean, that's very rude, I want you to know.
we all win the dumbbell award for not being able to figure that one out, huh?
Oh, you win 2 awards. I've been waiting for that.
2nd and 6 at the 31-yard line. The trophy comes with it. After the 32-yard line, he's tackled there by Eddie Anderson.
Pretty good collision there between Tony Page and Winston Moss. We've extolled the virtues before of Tony Page and his lead blocking abilities. Boy, he's a good one. He brings a little poundage to the dance. He's listed at 235. What do you think, guys? I say that's light.
That's just in the legs.
I'm trying to figure out how many cubic pounds.
I think that secondary does for the Raiders. Boy, they will hit you. Eddie Anderson came up and put the pop on that time. Anderson a lot. You better be looking around when you pop through an opening in that line of scrimmage if you're a running back, because you're going to get hit.
3rd and 5, and whistle before the snap. Richmond Webb is certainly moving.
Yeah, he false started again, I think.
Before the snap. False start. Number 78 on the offense. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
It was just a hair early, it looked. But that's enough to draw the false start in. We've talked before so many times about how crowd noise is a factor for an offensive tackle, but they're at home and there's no crowd noise. There it is. I mean, that's a good call by the official. I mean, it is dead silent when the Dolphins have the ball here, and Webb has no excuse.
3rd and 10. Marino is 0 for his last 5. And that's incomplete. Dan Land getting a hand on it. Tony Martin, the intended receiver.
Well, Tony Martin just didn't have the speed to pull away from Land. And the ball was really well thrown considering where Martin was, but this is just outstanding coverage work by Dan Land, number 25. Look how he's right with him. Dan drops the ball in there effectively, but just credit that good coverage.
There's Reggie Roby, who's already boomed 160 yards tonight. This is considerably shorter. Tim Brown corrals it at the 32-yard line. And Brown into Dolphin territory, out of bounds at the 39. The Raiders looking for any spark, and that's one.
Well, this will give them, if it holds up, and I see no flags, by far and away their best field position.
Welcome back to NFL American football here on Screensport, where the Los Angeles Raiders are on the move. They have a 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line of the Miami Dolphins, and Miami coach Don Shula isn't too happy about it.
As we went to commercial, you could see that Don Shula was upset. I think he thought that Tim Brown went out of bounds. And a good look there at him staying in bounds. Shula was convinced that he had stepped on the paint. Take a look at it. There's a pretty definitive view that Tim Brown remained in bounds, but Shula doesn't have a monitor on the sidelines, and he was really upset.
And the line judge made that call, or non-call. Charles Stewart standing right there. Schrader on 1st down from the 38-yard line. Looking deep downfield. Nothing there. Scrambling. Goes to the boundary and is shoved out of bounds at the 27-yard line. And a skirmish.
A nonchalant pickup by Schrader, who appeared to just glide the last 4 or 5 yards out of bounds.
Well, that's one of the few times you're going to see Miami in man-to-man defense, and here comes Cox. We talked about him earlier.
Looks like Tim Brown was the one jawing at Cox.
Brown and Griggs started it. They were the first bout on this 6-pound card.
Miami was in man-to-man on that. It's easy for a quarterback to pick up big yardage. Here's how it all began.
We had a
Tim Brown.
We had a good left.
Byron Cox.
Kind of a stinging jab by Tim Brown, and then a good right lead by Cox.
Stinging left and out of there.
Right. I owe it all to Alex Wallace.
Yeah, I know you do. 1st down at the 26-yard line. Dickerson. And Eric takes it to the 20, where he gets popped by Lewis Oliver, and there's a flag down. And this one is against the Raiders, so back it comes. First time tonight that the Raiders have been in Miami territory.
They could call that against Horton. He was at a wrestling match.
Holding during the run. Number 88 on the offense. 10 yards, still first down.
Ethan Horton.
Couple of calls now tonight on Horton.
Well, in fairness to Tim Horton, or to Ethan Horton, his father passed away last week. He missed a lot of practice time, and clearly you can't blame him for being distracted.
He missed most of the week of practice,
Yes.
and actually flew here to Miami to join the Raiders. So it's very difficult to be critical of any errors he makes.
Right, you saw the graphic illustrating the incompetence thus far of this offense. First and 14 after the penalty, and Smith makes the catch and doesn't pick up very much as Jeff Cross is right there to corral him.
That's a screen that is chased down and stopped by two of the interior linemen. Cross the first one there, and then Chuck Klingbeil the second. That is a screen that is either too slow to materialize or was not well executed by the line up front, and that it was too easy to read by the Dolphins and their defensive line.
Schrader could have taken a little deeper drop and brought Cross in with him a little further, and Schrader just dropped 4, 5, 6 yards, and Cross was able to get out of his pass rush right into the play.
Second and 14. Schrader incomplete at the 12-yard line. He tried to jam it in there to Willie Gault, and Jarvis Williams is right there with the coverage.
Gault there at the top of your screen. This is going to be just a simple break to the inside, but this is big-time traffic area, and Willie Gault not all that comfortable in there, and he saw the hit coming from Williams, and you could see him tuck the arms in. Ooh, and that is a big-time collision.
Meanwhile, Marco Coleman is shaken up, and that's the reason for the injury timeout as they attend to the Georgia Tech rookie.
The Dolphins certainly made the most of the fact that they had 2 #1 draft picks this year. They converted them into immediate defensive help in the form of that guy right there, Marco Coleman, and then Troy Vincent, who's starting at left corner. So
That was the
it looks
Cardinals.
like a couple of home runs by Don Shula in the Dolphin draft this year. There's Vincent, number 23.
Vincent, he was the Cardinals' #1 pick for Randall Hill. And this was the Dolphins' #1 pick, Marco Coleman. You're right. They've really come up with some couple of real fine defensive players.
Shula against the Raiders, 3-9. As we say, through the years, the Dolphins 3-14-1 against the Raiders. 3rd and 14. Schrader feeling the heat, gets it away. It's caught at the 15-yard line by Tim Brown, and it's a very big conversion for a first down. Very big.
Oh, and a heads-up play on the part of Schrader, too. He had a lot of room to run the football, but he probably would not have got the first down, so he hung in there, and waited, and finally was able to get the completion for the first down.
And watch Brown, Frank, turn immediately when he reaches the first down yardage. He sits down right about a yard beyond the first down stakes. I mean, how many times do you see a receiver who comes up a yard or two short on a 3rd down conversion play?
And
Well
give your
done.
Quarterback the angle, the best angle to throw the football, and he did it all.
At the 15-yard line on first down, here's Dickerson to the outside, and he runs right into Oliver, who body slams him at the 12. And the crowd going loo for Oliver.
Eric gave Louis Oliver a bunch of stutter steps that did no good whatsoever.
And it's coming back because of a holding against the Raiders, but
Oliver zeroed right in on that belt, and he was not going to get his eye off. He didn't take one of the fakes that Dickerson threw at him.
when Eric Dickerson,
during the run, 10 yards, still first down.
when Dickerson gains separation, he is his most dangerous. And there's Steve Smith going off. And I've seen Dickerson in that same situation before end up scoring a touchdown. I mean, he was in the open, and Louis Oliver was the only man there. That's
Look at all
where
the moves
Dickerson
right here, though. The quick step here to the outside, back in. Oliver zeroed right in on it.
Yep, that was just a beautiful play by Oliver.
Smith out, Napoleon McCallum comes in to spell him.
Steve Smith is very effective blocker. They miss him, particularly Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, he's really an unsung guy.
Oh, he's tough.
First and 18 at the 22 after the penalty. And Schrader throws, and it's McCallum who sees immediate action. He takes the ball to the 15-yard line. You know, we were talking about Oliver before. Oliver's the guy, you'll recall, in the Buffalo game where Miami beat the Bills and they crushed them at Rich Stadium. Oliver had 3 interceptions against Jim Kelly that day and long run backs and the whole thing. Those were his only 3 interceptions all season. Amazing.
The one was
103 yards.
Yeah, 3 yards into the
tying an NFL record. Well, that's enough.
That's a Pro Bowl in a day.
Like you said, it's just odd that the only 3 all year were all in that one game. But they were timely.
Looking to the face mask of Dickerson on 2nd and 11 from the 15, and Schrader has to recover his own fumble.
There's 12 for Cox.
27-yard line.
That's number 12 for Brian Cox. And that is nothing more than pure speed around the corner. And Bruce Wilkerson, whether it's Marco, when another fight breaks out, but whether it's Marco Coleman or whether it's Brian Cox, Wilkerson has his hands full trying to protect that corner. How did Cox get all the way back down there in that one? Now, this is a record. Look at Cox, number 51. He makes the sack.
Yeah, he was
and gets all the way
over the
downfield and gets in a fight.
So Cox involved in a couple of, he's fought everybody but Riddick Bowe during this series.
He is making Bruce Wilkerson look very bad tonight.
That'll be at halftime next week.
That's following where he gets in trouble. A little too much celebrating for the Raiders.
3rd and 22 at the 26-yard line. 6:29 to go, 3rd quarter. 10-0 Dolphins. Schrader, Cox with backside pressure, and he creates the incomplete pass.
A stellar series for Brian Cox.
He's working on Honolulu.
Yep. Well, a dozen sacks will do that to you, and he was within a whisker of another sack there.
Cox only in his 2nd year, and as Dan pointed out, what a terrific 5th-round draft pick out of Western Illinois, and also pointed out in East St. Louis.
One of the great programs around, Bob Shannon's outfit there. But look at the age of this Dolphin defense. I mean, Cox in his 2nd year, Coleman a rookie, Klingbeil 2nd year, Cross in his 5th, Griggs in his 4th, Vincent a rookie, Oliver in his 4th, J.B. Brown in his 4th. I mean, this is a group that really their best years are in front of them.
44-yard field goal attempt for Jeff Jaeger out of Gossip's hold is no good. In this corner, wearing the aqua shirt, Brian Cox. Remember, we were here last year. He took on the whole Cincinnati Bengal bench.
He sure did. He's proud of his football team, and Tom Olivedati ought to be proud of his defense. They are young and they are aggressive, and they are carrying the Dolphin football team. A real change of pace that is not Dan Marino's offensive unit that's doing that. They're the ones that are a step behind.
First down at the 26. That's caught by Page. Tony up to the 33-yard line. He is tackled by Winston Moss. Moss in on a lot of hits tonight.
The Raiders need to make something happen now. I mean, they had wonderful field position because of Brown's punt return. Got 0 points out of it. They're almost beginning to look like a team that needs almost what J.B. Brown gave the Dolphins. A fumble recovery, run back for a touchdown, an interception. It looks like somebody for the defensive team of the Raiders better step to the plate.
2nd down and 2 at the 34-yard line. Higgs at the first down. Tackled at the 38-yard line, and coming up to trip him up is Lionel Washington.
Great tackle by Washington. Higgs was gone for a big gainer. Still, he gets the first down. Breaking again out on the left side behind Webb and Sims.
You know, Dan, you were talking about, the Raiders have to make something happen. That's been their big problem this year, is the paucity of turnovers they've created. If you can point to one thing, that's really hurt them.
Well, that and the fact that they've turned it over so many times.
What were they coming into tonight's game? -12?
Yep.
Only New England was worse.
Here's a flea flicker, and Marino had a little trouble with the toss back from Higgs, but then throws a perfect strike to Duper, and the official fell down. There's no signal yet, but it has to be a touchdown. It is.
Yeah, it was half-hearted after he got up.
Hey, Ronnie Lott from the hall tried to get over. With any other passer, he might have been able to make it. But Marino just smoked that downfield to Duper. Ronnie Lott couldn't get to it. I don't believe Ronnie Lott believed that Marino could put that much on the football on that long a pass.
For some reason, Frank, Ronnie Lott on his way over to Duper altered his course.
He was looking for the interception, I think, Dan, and Marino just had, boy, he had some fire on this thing.
Well designed. Higgs flips it back to Marino, and look at the protection up front. Dan not challenged at all, allowed to step with that lead foot and deliver a strike, and there you see Washington and Lott both a step behind Mark Super Duper.
Duper's first catch of the night, 62 yards. Stoyanovich for the PAT.
Oh,
And the PAT is just good.
looks like it was blocked, wasn't it? And still got over.
Welcome back to NFL American football here on Screensport. Mark Duper's 55th career touchdown pass from Dan Marino has put the Dolphins 17 points ahead of the Los Angeles Raiders late in the third quarter. So if the Raiders are to get back into the game, they've got to make their move soon.
Well, Marino and Clayton are the most proficient with 78 touchdown passes. And then there's Mark Duper, who has just caught his 55th touchdown pass from Dan Marino.
Everybody wants to stand around the guy who catches the touchdown pass. What do you say? It's cold up there.
Yeah. 17-0. Miami is the kick from Stoyanovich is taken by Wright at the 9, and Wright slides to his knees as Clifford Mobley makes the tackle, or gets credit for it anyway, up at the 27. And we've got flag.